What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fourth and 15. I am Mel. Thank you all for joining us. And with me today is none other, the infamous Rico Mcgee. Rico, glad to have you on, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. It's Sunday, obviously,
Mhm.
and I want to talk about strictly the Cleveland Browns. Reason being is obviously we know they had an early game. They took a trip across the pond, as they say, to London, England,
Mhm.
and they faced the Minnesota Vikings, who, by the way, were currently at the time undefeated in games across the pond in London. Don't ask me how, but it was a rematch from 2017 where the Browns played the Vikings very well again, and then today they come up short, losing 21-17. The kicker for this was that Dylan Gabriel got the start.
Mhm.
And my question for you, good sir, is how did you feel about Dylan Gabriel getting the start?
Well, at first I said, it's time to provide a spark. Time to, try to spark this offense with something different. So I was cool when they decided to make the switch. And I know a lot of people had their thoughts about Dylan Gabriel's gonna, he's not gonna do very good. I don't expect, nothing. But I'm like, I think he's gonna be better than what people think. And he threw two touchdown passes. I believe he went in the first half, he went 13 of 21 for 103 yards. I mean, he didn't do anything to lose the game, but he missed a couple of key throws that I thought uh sometimes I looked at him like, yo, where the hell are you throwing that ball, brother? Um, but all in all, I don't think he looked bad. He wasn't he didn't look bad, but I mean a couple of decisions, questionable decisions. I really think clock management is what killed the Browns, honestly. That clock management at the end was horrible.
Hmm.
Horrible clock management.
I agree. And here's a stat I want to throw out here too, because you mentioned Dylan Gabriel. He went 19 to 33 for 190 yards, two touchdowns. He was sacked twice. QBR was 38.4, but his rating overall was a 94.
Mhm.
My problem with this is why did you go away from what was working? And what was working was here we go. Quinshawn Judkins, 23 carries, 110 yards, 4.8 on each carry, and his longest run was 32 yards. Why are we not running the ball?
Because at times I think this is not a shot, but I think at times the coaching staff outcoaches themselves sometimes. And I
Okay.
just
So it's not just me.
yeah,
So it's not just me
no,
because that
no.
was you were going you hit, as Stone Cold Steve Austin would say, you hit the nail right on the head because that is where I was going. Like, is Stefanski sabotaging himself?
I
Because
think no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that, like, dude, 23 carries back in 1995 was a lot. 23 carries in 2025, not a lot. And yet you still managed to go over 100 yards. You average almost, we're going to round it up. You average 5 yards a carry, bro.
Hmm.
How do you not keep, look, if it's working, keep it going. And then you knew at some point the Vikings were going to have to sell out to stop the run. And they did. That's where you throw it to Njoku. That's where you throw it to Judy. Why are you making this more difficult than it needs to be?
I think sometimes he tries to anticipate what the defense is going to do, and sometimes you just got to go with the flow. I'm actually Harold Fannin wasn't involved as much as I would have liked to have seen him been involved. I mean, because David Njoku had a pretty good game. I think that two tight end set, and Harold probably would have helped the offense a little bit more. I didn't see Harold Fannin as much in this game.
Damn,
So I'm curious as to
damn,
why
damn.
Um, I'm curious as to why why that wasn't why Harold Fannin wasn't a factor in this game. And then the defense, I don't know,
The
down the
defense
stretch.
down the stretch because you're playing prevent, and as we all know, the
True.
prevent only prevents you from winning.
Right.
I am not a fan of the prevent defense. I have been a firm believer. If you gonna beat me, you're gonna beat me the way I call defense.
Hmm.
Personally, I think that's a defensive coordinator's uh, issue. They're gonna figure that out. But you were up four or three, excuse me. You're up 17-14. Why not play defense? You know they're gonna throw the ball. You sacked Carson Wentz 3 times.
They still have one of the best receivers in the league on the other side of that ball, and you got Jordan Addison as well. So yeah,
I'm more worried about Jefferson than I am Addison, only because here's the stat line for this. Justin Jefferson, 7 receptions, 123 yards, averaging 17 on each catch, and his longest was 38.
yeah, yeah, definitely,
That's a problem. And
definitely.
as a defensive person, as both of us defensive minded people, why is Denzel Ward not on him?
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. I didn't
Why is
understand
why
that either.
is Denzel Ward not on him? Why is Don't get me wrong, Greg Newsome is a hell of a player. But when you in prime time, or essentially, because you're in London, England, so London's a couple of hours ahead of us. If you're in prime time, Newsome is not who I want on Justin Jefferson. And
What?
it's nothing against Jefferson. The reality is, again, the stat line: 7 receptions, 123 yards, 17.6 average. His longest was 38. That is a problem. That is a
Definitely,
problem. Stop
definitely.
telling me, if you're a Browns fan, stop telling me we got the best defense, which obviously statistically we do, but stop telling me that and our best players are not on their best players.
I agree.
If I'm lining up to play the Minnesota Vikings, I already know I can get to Carson Wentz. That's not the problem. The problem is when Carson Wentz gets the ball out of his hands
Hmm.
to Justin Jefferson.
He can scramble
Now
a little bit too.
I'm not. If you asking me if I'm more worried about Michael Vick or Carson Wentz taking off
Oh,
when the pocket break down, I'm more worried about Michael Vick taking off when the pocket break down than I am Carson Wentz. Just
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
And Miles Garrett, who showed he's fast enough to catch Carson Wentz, so I ain't worried. What I'm worried about is when the pocket breaks down and he throws that ball and Justin Jefferson is wide open. Or Addison, because you did mention Addison. Addison had 5 for 41. He had a touchdown. That was the crazy part. We stopped Justin Jefferson from getting in the end zone, but everybody else got in the end zone.
In a situation like that, it's like sometimes you got all right. Listen, if we gonna live and die with this, man. Justin Jefferson ain't gonna beat us. You want to win, you have to make somebody else beat us, and they
And he
made
did.
somebody else beat
He did.
us.
He
Made
did.
somebody else beat us.
Addison and Josh Oliver both got a
Yeah,
touchdown.
yeah.
And that's the crazy part with this because now we're looking at 1-4. And because we're looking at 1-4, obviously tomorrow morning, our constituents in the mainstream media are going to be calling for uh, Kevin Stefanski's head. I don't all I don't always agree with that. I don't believe in this. However, what I am going to say is if you because you said it best on your post on Facebook, if you think that 2026 class of quarterbacks is going to be anything worth talking about, somebody done told you wrong. We saw it yesterday. Arch struggled. Even Drew Aller struggled. You have two, you have three, but you have two very young and capable quarterbacks in your stable. Yes, you made the switch against the Vikings. It was a winnable game. Obviously, you had the lead up until the last 3 minutes of the game. So this game was winnable. Why not see what you got with these two guys? And with these two guys, I mean Shadur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. We saw part of what Dylan could do today. Dylan's only problem is he is like 2 feet shorter than everybody else on the
That's
offensive line.
that's the
That's his
problem.
problem.
That's the
The
problem.
problem with Shador is we don't see him on the field. I'm not calling for anybody else. I'm not saying anybody else needs to put Shador in. I'm not saying anybody else needs to put Dylan Gabriel back in or start Flacco again, whatever the case may be. What I'm saying is, I agree with your post on Facebook. This 2026 class is not looking good. If you're watching Saturday, not looking good at all. The other problem with this is you have the right formula. You've got the right running back. Is
You
he
got
Nick Chubb? No, he's not. He's Quinshawn Judkins. However, again, I'm going to go back to the stat line 23 carries for 110 yards and a 5 yard average is not bad against a very good Minnesota Vikings defense. So let's look at the reality. You put a rookie quarterback in, you relied on the run game. It helped. It also helped that Dylan did make a few good throws. He made a few good plays. What is the problem with going with that moving forward?
I don't see a problem with it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Dylan Gabriel made good throws. The man could play the game. He's very, you know what I'm saying? Um, that's gonna come with comfort. I think the more reps he gets, I think Dylan Gabriel could be just fine. I know a lot of people aren't high on Dylan Gabriel, and I've even watched some shows where people are saying, "No, Shador needs to go in right now." It's like
But why do you need to put him in right now? Like, I
that's my
get it.
whole
I
thing.
I I get it. But you draft. Here's the thing. There was a once upon a time, there was a time where coaches made quarterbacks sit when they
Mm-hmm.
drafted them because you
Yeah.
really needed to learn how fast this game was, what to expect on certain situations. And we got a veteran that's capable. He's not all world, all world God's gift of football or whatever, but the guy is there. He's been there. We drafted you because we know his time is coming, whether it be free agency or whether it be he's just too old to play. Now they're throwing these guys to the wolves, and in Bryce Young's case, y'all making him look bad because the speed of college football is totally different from the speed of NFL football. In college football, you could get away with some of the stuff you used to do, like Johnny Manziel did. You can't get away. You can't get away with that now. Michael Vick was the exception because in Michael Vick's case, when he played the Hurricanes, he was literally going up against an NFL team. Like what was it? 90% of that 2000 and 2001 team got drafted and went on to have successful careers. That was the exception. He literally was facing an NFL team every time he saw the Hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
Shador, you drafted him in the fifth round. You drafted Dylan in the third. Again, I'm standing 10 toes down when I say this. I agree with your post because if watching yesterday was any inkling to what the quarterback class of 2026 is going to look like, I'm gonna stick with what I got.
Yep.
I'm sticking with Shadur. I'm gonna need you to, soon as Dylan starts screwing up, man, I'm gonna need you to come on in here and clean this up, man. Just do me that solid. Because matter of fact, I know Shadur was at Collinwood last week when they played Rhodes. Like Shadur, if you hear me, give your boy Dylan a couple. I mean, you might even go in sooner because you know who coming up next week. You
You know
know who
what?
coming up next week,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
you got to go to them. You already know it's a tough place to play in Pittsburgh,
Yep.
Heinz Field or Alcentric Field or whatever it's called now. Going to Pittsburgh, period, you're gonna have a problem. So I hope, for the sake of discussion, this is not a one and done for Dylan Gabriel. Is he gonna take his lumps? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But let's look at reality. Today was a winnable game.
Hmm.
Today was a
A
winnable game.
winnable game that they lost that I don't put on Shador. Here's the problem, right?
I don't put that on Shadura. I don't put it on Dylan.
Oh no, no, no! I don't put it on Dylan. I'm sorry.
I put it squarely where it needs to be, and that's with coaching. And I'm not saying Stefanski's a bad coach. What I'm saying is you went through this, I went through this. I'm still going through this as a coach myself. You got to know your talent. You got to know your talent. Out of that room in the quarterback's room, who's the tallest or who's one of the tallest QBs on your roster? It's Shador. Who's one of the shortest? It's obviously Dylan Gabriel. Move that pocket because 2 sacks that he took, you didn't have to take. I mean, yeah, they did put pressure on him, and one of them he almost got away from. But if you move that pocket with his mobility, imagine what those plays look like, and would imagine the type of threat it puts on the defense to know, all right, this kid not only can he move, we can't see him. You can't see him, so how you gonna get him? I
I
could be
agree.
wrong. I could be wrong. But I'm not gonna put the total loss on the team because, like I said, the defense did exactly what they were supposed to do. Especially, you know, Newsom did make some plays. He had a pass breakup. Uh,
Yeah, the
Alex
fumble
Wright,
recovery.
Malik Collins and company got a couple hits on the quarterback. He did get a fumble recovery. But the other issue I have with this is, as of right now, today's game, stat line wise, I don't see any interceptions. That's a problem too. We got to get interceptions. We have to, because when you get interceptions, it gives you opportunities. There's this little stat that everybody knows called points off turnovers. When you get the turnover, you start trying to get points. I'm no rocket scientist, but hitting the quarterback is great. Hitting Carson Wentz, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. My disdain for Carson Wentz goes back to his North Dakota days, just as a college football fan. But I do know when you hit the quarterback enough, he throws interceptions or he makes inerrant throws. Where was that today?
You know what? When when you got the defensive line that the Browns have, shoot, you got to get that. You got to get that ball out of your hands quick. So
I
yeah, listen,
wish I
because
had that defensive line
yeah, that
as a
defensive
player.
line, shoot, they make a lot of things easy for the secondary. And when you do get it, it's a coverage set. You know, the Browns secondary is just that good. I mean, they're sixth in the league against the pass. So
And that's what I don't understand. That is what's mind-boggling. How are the defensive backs themselves as a unit? You are sixth defensively in the league, and you let one man cause so much chaos today. Just think about it. Justin Jefferson alone had 123 yards. You know who's the closest next to him stat wise as far as yards gained? Is Addison, and he only had 41. So what does that tell you?
Jefferson's a matchup nightmare for any opposing defense. Don't
He
matter how good
is.
you are.
He is. And again, I don't disagree with that. What I'm saying is if we as a defense are top 10 in both categories, total defense and defensive, like our secondary, why is one man causing so much chaos to the point where he don't even score, but everybody else get in on the action and they win the game? Like literally, Jefferson didn't score a touchdown. And here's the crazy part about this. When Carson Wentz went out, it was supposed to be all right, we could pin our ears back. He settles down, he gets treated, whatever the case may be. He comes back out. His final stat line was 25 of 34, 236. He averaged 6.9 yards a throw.
Mm,
He was sacked 3 times. His QBR was 45. His overall rating was 102.
mm, mm, mm. He
So
went off.
realistically, he didn't even kill us
Hmm.
with the long ball. It was everything short that was killing us.
Yeah, that's because they adjusted to the Browns to that front seven. It's like, okay, you're gonna bring extra men every time. Bet. Yep.
Throw
We
it
just
right
gonna
here.
dump it off, pick up about 4 yards, first down till they was able to get in the red zone, and it just it just crumbled, like that last drive just
Man, that's
crumbled from there.
demoralizing. That's demoralizing.
Just demoralizing. Now you have to go to a hostile Pittsburgh environment next week. They on a bye week this week.
I get it because you do got to go to Pittsburgh. However, this is also a winnable game. Like
Yeah,
you got to remember, in the last 5 years, you ain't been the punching bag for Pittsburgh no more.
yeah, I agree. I
And I
agree.
I want to see. I do want to see more of. Let me start over. Let me make this clear. Do I want to see Shador on the field at some point? I do. You drafted him. Let's see what he made of. However, I do want to see more of Dylan Gabriel because I don't think this was the right game to put him in just because there was a lot of pressure on him to perform because this is one of those NFL showcase games
Mm.
where they're trying to either bring back NFL Europe or bring an NFL team in from, bring an NFL team in Europe somewhere. That's a lot of pressure. The Vikings are used to it, obviously. They've been overseas enough. But for to throw a kid out there, to me, to throw a kid out there in the across the pond, it's a primetime game essentially for them. This I want to see how he does hostile environment, not not named Ohio State, and a team that you are known for having issues with. I want to see how this looks.
You know what the problem is, honestly, and I've said this for a long time. This world is more and more fast paced as time goes along. And as it becomes fast paced, people have become more impatient.
Hmm.
Because people are more impatient, they don't have time to sit and wait for somebody to develop. If you don't already know what you're doing,
And
get them out of here, get somebody else.
and this goes especially for the NFL within the last 15 to
Exactly.
20 years because
Yes.
you've seen it. Who's the most notable quarterback to come in off of somebody getting injured and instant success? It's Tom Brady.
Yes.
Everybody wants, and every team in the NFL right here, right now, wants a Tom Brady. We as a city have been waiting for our Tom Brady since we lost Bernie Kosar.
Yeah.
I I can't say we didn't have it because I felt like we did have it with Baker, but again, that was a front office move, not a fan move. And here we are. We still looking for our Baker Mayfield, our Bernie Kosar.
Yeah. It's just plug it in, and if it doesn't work, get him out of there. And that's sort of kind of that's just how it is, with NFL and with life. Period. It's like just expectations. The minute you come in, like if people don't understand that college and the NFL are essentially two different things,
It's two different worlds. It is
two
two
different
different
worlds. Things
worlds.
you could get away with in college, you're
Can't
not
get
going to
away
get
with.
away with in the NFL. I
Johnny
think
Manziel was the perfect example of
yes,
that. He
definitely,
was the perfect, and I love Johnny as a person. Don't get me wrong, but we saw it. We literally saw it. The running around trying to get open. You're two one. You and Dylan Gabriel are looking at each other eye to eye. The only difference is Dylan Gabriel is taking this a little bit more serious than you did.
yeah.
Not against you. It's not against you. But you were also, to Johnny's credit, you were also in a terrible, terrible part of the organization at that time.
Yeah,
Like that was a terrible time for the organization.
you were
What I
right.
am right
I'm sorry.
before, Stefanski gets in and all of
Yeah,
that.
back when Hugh
So
Jackson, Mike
right,
Penn, between the Mike Penn, Joe, Hugh Jackson
right.
day.
So that wasn't all Johnny's fault. But
Yeah,
to move forward from that, what I am gonna say is, and it's not even a say, it's a question. You're 1-4. You're not out of it yet. If you, sir, if you are head coach of the Cleveland Browns, what's your next move moving forward?
1-4. You ain't got nothing to lose at this point. You
But
may
you're
not.
still not out of it.
You're not. I mean, it's like okay. I would just, hey, listen, just let it rip, man. At this point, man, just see what you could get. Move the ball downfield. The NFL it's not even a grinded out. It's not even grinded out anymore. It's just spread the field out, throw the ball, and let your best receivers go out and make fantastic catches and be entertaining. Just go out there and have fun. Just go out there, and I'm gonna just tell them like, look, just go out there and have fun. We ain't got nothing to lose. Feed Quinshon the ball as much as you can, and we'll see what you can get.
Hmm, that's interesting.
What about you?
Me, me personally, we ain't out of this yet. I mean, we're 1-4. We're 2 games back in the division, but we can easily make them 2 games up. I mean, uh, if you're Cincinnati, do you really trust Browning? My only worry is going to see them rat birds again, for real, for real. I mean, you can handle the Steelers.
Yeah.
Let's not act like we can't. It's really, the division is still wide open.
Oh, definitely,
And
definitely.
that would be my goal. If I can't do nothing else this year, I'm gonna make it hell for everybody else in my division.
Hmm.
And it was almost like that until Lamar Jackson decided to stop messing around in that game against the Ratbirds. So realistically, if it's me, I am sitting there Monday morning, or no, Wednesday when they come back. Hey, we ain't out of this. We not out of this. Let's stop. Let's reassess what we doing. Let's pick what works for us, and let's try it and see how it stick, and go from
I,
there. And then everybody in the division gonna catch it.
hmm I think you just got to take it one game at a time. One game at a time. You ain't got to get it all. You're not going to get it all back in one game. Just
You're
take
not.
it, one game at a time. That's real.
I
That's
agree.
really all it is at this point. Because I know, you're really not out. Technically, you're not out. But as far as the outside looking in, 1-4. Looking at the statistics and the percentages and all that, most teams that start 1-4 usually don't make the playoffs more times than not.
Fair
So
enough.
most
Fair enough.
people are looking at it like, yeah, you guys aren't, your bum asses ain't going nowhere. Like, nah, you just got to get it back one game at a time. Listen, this is Cleveland. We stick together out here. You saw the Guardians were 15 games out of the division.
And won
They
it.
weren't even supposed to make the playoffs.
And
They
vote
had
and
to come
made it.
back and steal the division from the Tigers. Now, if you
I,
can't look at that and draw some motivation from that,
I
I don't know
agree.
what to tell you.
I agree
I don't know what to tell
because
you.
that was not supposed to happen,
That was
and
not
it did.
supposed to happen at all.
Statistically, that was not supposed to happen. You're 15 games back. It's a done deal.
Yeah, yeah. You
Just
you were supposed to
look.
be on the couch with my Braves.
Yeah, just start. Look, just start throwing all the youngins in and see what you got.
Right. Just throw the youngins in. Y'all came back. Y'all stormed back and stole the division in 3 weeks.
That's hard to do. Damn
I'm
near
listen.
impossible.
The Guardians. Side note: the Guardians that gave us probably out of the best sports moments as a Cleveland fan, the Guardians have probably given us the most.
That's
And
all I
within the
got to say
last,
about that. And that's all
I
I got
mean,
to say about that. And that's all I got to say about that.
I'm gonna hit that one more time because realistically, outside of the two playoff appearances by our Browns, they have
Championship with the Cavs, and
Browns getting back to the playoffs,
yeah,
and the Guardians literally stealing the division at the
yeah. I mean,
last
they
minute.
literally came back, stole the division. Now, granted, they lost in the first round, and you know the lack of hitting is going to came back to haunt them. But it's all good.
Mhm.
We still made the playoffs. But
I'm hoping the Browns can turn it around. That's why
yeah,
I'm not out of it. I'm not the realm of possibility to get back into at least the division race shows me like look again, we only 2 games out.
that's it.
If you beat Pittsburgh, you split with Cincinnati and you split with the Ravens and you can sweep Pittsburgh, there it is right there. And if it ain't right there, you got a good shot at a wild card because now you're in the race.
Definitely,
So,
definitely. And the way
I'm gonna leave it.
Cincinnati's been looking, listen.
Oh yeah, man. Exactly. Again, do you trust Browning?
I
Where's the
don't trust that
all-state
offensive line. Nobody's safe behind that offensive line. But that's a whole nother story.
man?
Listen,
Yeah, we're gonna
that's a
say
whole
that
nother
for
story.
another one.
Yeah.
But we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna give let Stone Cold hit us with that one
And
more
that's
time.
all I got to say about that.
And Rico, I'd like to thank you again
No
for
problem
being
at all.
on. Appreciate. We'll be back next week as the Browns take that travel up to dreaded Pittsburgh, and we'll see how that turns out. But for today, it's a somber moment. We lose over across the pond, 21-17. Hopefully next week we bounce back. I'm optimistic. So, with that being said, for 4th and 15, that's Rico. I'm Mel. Peace.